With us now is Stewart Alsop. Stewart was formerly the editor of InfoWorld. He now publishes the PC Letter. Gary?
Stewart, we've all seen the dominance that IBM took in the hardware industry. And at the time they were buying, let's say, I guess the third-party software. Now they've also announced recently a whole line of software products. Are we going to see the same kind of attempt to take over the software industry?
Well, certainly they want to try to take over the software industry. That's part of their announced strategy. But recent reports indicate that the software isn't selling. And the real point with software is that that's what provides the value to the user. And unless it does provide value, the user won't buy it.
What is the analysis of why it's not selling?
The software that's been provided in the business productivity series, I believe they're called, in the personal decision series, aren't competitive with what's currently being offered from Lotus Development and other application software companies.
You mean they're just not as good, feature-wise?
Just not as good. They're not as easy to use and not as powerful.
Now, speaking of competitive products, Gary, your company, in fact, has a top-view type multitasking system. Why don't you give me a brief introduction?
We've been interested in the multitasking area for a long, long time. And Tom, in fact, did quite a bit of work in that area. And now that IBM has put the stamp of approval on multitasking, then, of course, we get a lot of interest in Concurrent DOS. So, Tom, could you introduce it and see what's going on?
Okay, the product I'll demonstrate here is called Concurrent PC-DOS. It is a DOS-compatible operating system that provides the ability of running multiple concurrent DOS applications. On the screen right now, what I have is four separate windows, and we see three here outlined in different colors. The purpose for Windows is that it makes the user interface much easier to understand. We can see here that we have three distinct different applications. Here we see part of a directory in one screen. By hitting a single keystroke, I can move to a second screen, a third screen, and finally down to a screen in which I have loaded WordStar. So here we have WordStar executing, and we could be running that concurrently with other applications. And we can cycle through the window manager to see those other applications.
So these are like four different computer systems that are in the same place.
That's correct. So while that screen is still scrolling, I can move to another screen, do another operation, another directory or something perhaps, and finally moving to another screen, and here perform yet another operation.
I think the important issue is here the both TopView and Concurrent DOS are really headed toward another level of small computer users. They're both capable of supporting communications, say in the background. They're capable of supporting network kinds of facilities. And as we see that move into the office, those applications are going to just expand and expand.
Stewart, looking at this kind of multitasking user interface from the consumer or customer's point of view here, what do you get and what do you give up for this?
Well, the problem with both TopView and I'm not sure entirely of PC-DOS, but of other operating environments that integrate different applications, is that they require a lot of effort on the part of the user in order to share applications, and also just financially in terms of the amount of money you have to spend on the program itself and on upgrading your machine in order to run them. And there's no specific value from the program itself. It merely integrates programs. It doesn't provide you with a function. And the problem is persuading that there's real value.
I think it comes back again, though, the real value are applications like, again, I'm not talking about TopView or Concurrent DOS specifically, but when you get into multitasking, you're talking about capabilities of mini computers, and that's what, well, fundamentally, why do people still use mini computers if there isn't something that's an advantage there? And the advantage, in most cases, is multitasking and being able to get at bigger file systems. And that's what we're seeing with things like the PC-AT, is really a whole different generation of mini computer competitive type of systems.
In fact, I think what I've called it is the first mini computer disguised as a personal computer. So.